Welcome to another week's live stream. We've got a lot of fun to talk about today. Robert, run that, ask for attendance and then run that poll if you would.
Sure thing.
We've got to make week 8 a little bit of fun, and so this will be no exception. Hopefully we'll be able to have a few laughs along the way and have some good memories of being together. And then everybody can do their final week and everybody go off to their next classes or graduation or whatever is next for you. So, and that is speaking of the last week of the bachelor's class. Okay, the poll is out, so...
Which is scariest?
And so far we have at least one vote for 2 votes. Okay, 3.
Good.
Somebody changed their votes from more Disney Star Wars. Okay.
It can't get any worse. Well,
All right, today's 11 October. Okay, Nathan's still working. That's good. It's good that you're still working, Nathan, actually. Got to pay for college somehow. Got to pay to eat. Somehow got to keep those things rolling, so that's good.
You remember back in the day when people used to really trash on the prequel trilogy and how bad the prequels were? They don't do that anymore.
Yeah, no. I don't complain about the prequels because they're 10 times better than the 8, 9, and 10, 7, 8, 9 were. That's for sure.
I'm sad about that.
Yep. Okay, so far we're thinking artificial intelligence is the scariest, but Disney Star Wars is coming in a close second. Okay, and those
I can
people
appreciate that
know about central bank digital currencies are a little bit fearful of those, which does make sense actually, because the problem is, just like you can control what's going on a private blockchain, a central bank digital currency is going to be a mega private blockchain or a mega program if it's not put on a blockchain. I don't know how they're going to get away with the double spend issue if they don't put it on a blockchain, but we'll see.
I think they're just going to use the blockchain for the recording of transactions. I don't think they're going to use any of the rest of the benefits the blockchain brings along with it. But that's
the double spend benefit, definitely.
Yeah.
And private blockchains have the flexibility to do a lot of things in their in the smart contracts that are embedded in it.
Yeah.
So, frankly, they can do pretty much anything they want to. But definitely would be a private blockchain. Everybody would have their own account and would be part of the know your customer laws, know your customer banking laws, and so forth. So, and we get basically a tie between Disney Star Wars and artificial intelligence now.
Okay.
That is a sad commentary on Disney. That's for sure. Gosh, I wish Lucas had sold it to somebody that would have maintained the storyline at least.
Yeah. The thing is, when it first happened, I actually thought it might be pretty good because back then they were doing an excellent job with Marvel. And I kind of thought, okay, Marvel isn't Disney, and if they can do so good with Marvel, maybe they can do just as good with Star Wars. But now, Marvel and Star Wars are kind of the same, a very samey feel, and neither is good. But
we only have half the students here at this point. But it is just right at the top of the hour. We'll get a whole bunch coming in the next 3 minutes.
I was going to ask, what would you vote out of those 3?
What would I vote out of those 3? I'm actually much more scared of the central bank digital currencies.
Yeah.
So, and Congress is doing their best to try to prevent CBDCs from being foisted upon the American public. But the problem is Great Britain is all in. The European Union is all in. They're well on their way to developing their own CBDCs. A lot of smaller countries are as well. So it's a revolution that, of course, is being pushed by the World Economic Forum and the World Monetary Fund, both of which are big boys in the financial arenas for global politics. So they're going to keep pushing until they probably get it worldwide. So we'll see what happens. See how much we can push back on it.
I hope that the seeming failure of the eNaira in Nigeria.
Yep, that would have been the Nigerian one.
I hope that gives them at least some pause.
Yep. Well,
But
what it does though is it gives them a use case that allows a case study that allows them to see what failed, how it failed, why it failed.
that's true.
And then they'll seek to overcome those, and then they'll just go to the next iteration.
Yeah.
So I really don't think it'll make them slow down much at all. So, all right. Well, hey, we've got 13 folks online right now. So let's go ahead and start with the Kahoot. I'm going to go ahead and I guess the poll just ended. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and start week 8. And it's loading. And we'll just be in classic mode because I don't want to pay for anything better. Neither does Lindenwood. And so there's your pin, game pins. Get into kahoot.it and put in the pin number 1624871. And when a good number of you get joined, we'll get started here. A little concerned that I'm only seeing 12, 13 or so people online, so we'll see what happens. Okay. We have an anonymous 1624871 person.
There we go.
Okay.
Help remind people what the pin is. Perfect.
Yep. Definitely remind people who the pin is. Okay.
Would you mind muting your computer?
No, I would not mind muting my computer. Were you hearing something? Okay.
Kahoot has it's
Kahoot has sound, so that's when you notice it, huh?
Yes.
Okay, doke.
Oops, I have the wrong pin. Ha!
How do you have the wrong pin? Or you're putting in the wrong pin?
I put in the wrong pin.
That 1654871. Uh-huh. Okay, Allison's closing the bank up, so she'll be listening.
Okay.
Okay. So for everybody here, I got caught up completely on all the grades this morning, just before noon. So go read the comments so that you can do better on the next one, so forth, and get you can see your grades. Email me if you're concerned. We'll talk about it, see what we can do.
Okay, we have 12 people here.
We have 12 people, and we've got basically 12 people there. So let's go ahead and get started. Others can join as they. Oh, did we lose one? Yeah, went down from 12 to 11. Okay.
Well,
our anonymous numbered person.
That's okay, though. They can reconnect as soon as they.
Yep, they'll reconnect.
Okay.
Okay. So let's. Because we got 16 concurrent viewers now, so we should see another 1 or 2 or 3 people pop on. All right, so let's start. The first one. There's going to be quite a few true false in this one. And the first one. True or false? Private blockchains use proof of work. True or false? So something being proven is evidence, right?
Okay.
What kind of evidence do you need in a private blockchain? Is it proof of work? We have 9 answers in.
My favorite analogy for proof of work, and I don't know if I've told this class. My favorite real life proof of work is when kids collect the soda tabs for charities. The charities don't need soda tabs. The amount that they actually collect in soda tabs is worth a couple of dollars worth of aluminum from an entire school, but it's proof of work. By putting in effort themselves, they prove that they want to put value into the system, and therefore they are awarded with tokens or whatever. In this case, it's awarded to charity.
All right, we have a split decision here. Private blockchains do not use proof of work. Only public blockchains use proof of work. So this is particularly important. So as you're doing research for papers and looking at for yourself just at information on blockchains, if somebody keeps on, Brock is here, Robert.
Okay.
If you see information that says that one of the cons or one of the bad things of blockchains for business is that they are slow because they use proof of work, you know that the author doesn't know what he's talking about, because the author thinks you're talking about a public blockchain that has to use a heavyweight consensus method to prevent hacking. And in order to prevent hacking, proof of work was instituted, and it makes the network hardened. Whereas blockchains that have authentication when a person logs into the system do not need that heavyweight consensus method. So they do not use proof of work. In fact, they would not be able to perform the kind of work that they need to for a business if they used proof of work. It would just be too slow. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. See if we get a split decision here. Okay, we got those. Okay, Amy, James, Lamar, Brandon, Ryan. Who was our big leader last week? Am I not seeing him on the leader list?
I think it was Lamar.
Lamar? Okay.
But I don't recall.
All righty. Okay, Daniel's on. Daniel Ware is here.
And for both Brock and Daniel, you can join the Coot in progress.
Yeah, you should see. It's the second number Robert posted because he
I deleted the other one, so
okay.
It's good.
Oh, cool. Message retracted. I see that. Okay, good. All right, let's go to the next one. Another true false. Private blockchains use a lot of power to process transactions. It's private blockchains we buy all of those video cards for, and we drove up the price of NVIDIA.
Private blockchains?
Cards for that, right?
It was public blockchains that we... No?
So, I have a lot of fun when I look at articles. Every once in a while, I do the dumb, what is it? The dumb analyst of the month.
Oh.
You know, I've made fun of so many analysts who write these articles, and it's very obvious that they do not know what they're talking about, because they'll talk about all this wonderful benefits that the healthcare industry and insurance industry and all of them can have, and then they list all the bad things, and we've got a split decision again.
Oof.
Private blockchains don't use a lot of power because their consensus methods are incredibly lightweight. They don't use proof of work, which is the heaviest of all of the processing of transactions. So the whole concern here is that private blockchains do not need to have a consensus method that is trying to keep out hackers. They are extremely distributed, and they process thousands of transactions at a time. And by doing so, the depth of their blockchains happens so fast that in itself is a protection to the blockchain, even if they could get into it. So no, they don't use a lot of power to process transactions. So let's see where we're at here. James is on top with Lamar, Brandon, and Amy. And Ryan on the bottom of this leaderboard. Okay. Private blockchains are nearly infinitely scalable. True or false? So we have machines that do that's by their size, you can tell they do a little bit more, a little bit more. So are private blockchains almost infinitely scalable? Now understand, no software is infinitely scalable. But is there a limitation on private blockchains being scalable? What's that term that Ethereum's going to implement or did implement this year, where they split up?
The kind of the multi-threading type thing, but they didn't call it multi-threading.
No, they don't call
sharding.
it sharding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Borrowing a term, actually, I don't know if it originated with video games, but that term has been used in video games for a long time.
Uh-huh. All right, we're getting the point here.
Good.
And we got most of them saying, yeah, they're almost infinitely scalable because they've got a very lightweight consensus method that allows them to process hundreds of thousands of transactions at a time, and usually they can be scaled to meet pretty much any need. So how are we doing here? Okay, Brandon has got the fire under him. 3 answers in a row. Okay. And top of the leaderboard again. I think he did it last week too. Let's go. Number 4 out of 6. Private blockchains can process hundreds of thousands of transactions per second. All right, we got 12 answers in. I wish it'd give us a little indication on the screen how many people we have logged in, so we could tell kind of when we've got everybody's answers in. Don't take Lamar's first week last week away from him. He earned it.
That's true. Yeah, it was Lamar last week.
Lamar last week?
Although I think Lamar's
Thank
won
you.
several weeks.
Okay. Lamar is being challenged this week. I can't remember where I saw him on the board this time. Or is Lamar here today?
Yes, I think it was on 4th place.
He was 4th place. Okay.
Yep.
There we go.
There
Yes.
we go. Very nice.
Not to mention that I just gave the answer just before I issued the question, right? So
Still
everybody's
counts.
listening. Everybody's hearing me. That's good. So everybody got the answer right. So it's just a matter of who clicked first. Okay. And Brandon is staying high. And Lamar is 4th. Okay, very good. Another true or false. Public and private blockchains have the same pros and cons. In other words, what's positive about private and public is the same as what's positive about private is positive about public, and what's negative about private is negative about public. Yeah, is it?
Rather interesting image used for this one.
Yeah, that's actually forgetting to change the image
Oh.
from the question that I revised. So
I was
yeah.
trying to find some way to connect them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that image doesn't really pertain. Okay.
Oh, shucks. Okay.
Thanks, Brandon. All right, let's see. All righty, good. They don't have the same pros and cons. The biggest con for public blockchains is that they're slow and lumbering. The biggest pro for private blockchains is that they're quick and they're able to meet the need of business, which is good. Okay, very good. And very good. Okay. A little bit of shuffling there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, last question. Guess what the topic is? Blockchains that don't relate to finance face regulatory uncertainty. The ones that don't relate to finance face regulatory uncertainty.
Well, that's a different subject.
Yeah. It is. Okay. And the answer is false. That is it is they do not face regularly. Okay, blockchains that do not relate to finance face regular. Okay, so the answer is false there. And the reason the answer is false there is because if you're not in the finance business, if you're not trading securities, which is the big complaint of the FCC, then you're not going to be at a foul of any securities laws, like Bitcoin can be, or like a lot of the exchanges are, and so forth. The uncertainty out there is horrendous in that side of the market. But blockchains for business avoid that because they don't deal with exchanging money. They may exchange tokens for value to keep track of who's putting in the most work, who's providing the most programmers. It's more of a governance issue than it is a money transference issue. So they avoid regulation almost entirely. Okay.
At that point, and pardon the misuse of the term database, they're just a glorified database at that point. They just store information.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, my Kahoot just blocked. Didn't even get to answer. I'm sorry.
Ouch.
Okay.
Oh, Lamar also. That's why that one ended so quickly.
Yeah.
A number of people got kicked out of that one.
I wonder why they did. Same. Ooh. Okay, Ryan.
You know those NASCAR races where there's a massive wreck at the finish line? Sorry, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, very good. Congratulations, Ryan, and Brandon for second, and James for third. That's good. That's good. Okay, and sorry for those that. Okay, 3 got kicked out. Wow. Okay, that is weird. Very weird, and sorry about that. Okay. We have another
poll.
Another poll.
Okay. You guys are going to like this one.
Oh, you're going to love this one, guys. He can't even hardly stop laughing trying to post the thing.
Is it okay to laugh at a joke that hasn't been told yet?
No.
It's too long. I now have to edit the answers. Sorry.
Oh, the answers are too long?
Yeah, let me fix this.
Okay. Enough so that they'll get the idea, right?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Do you believe that we actually landed on the moon? And yes, the government wouldn't lie. Or no, it was Stanley Kubrick's greatest film.
Okay. And funny, we're getting kind of a split decision here.
Uh-oh. It doesn't help that you can't honestly answer either one fully. Well, depending.
Yeah, that's true, because I'm sure they would love to say yes, but can't say the government wouldn't lie. And some would like to say,
Or they just have a different opinion on Stanley Kubrick's films. Maybe they like other movies.
Yeah, maybe. All right. Well, we're about. Looks like we're about 3/4, 1/4. Choose whichever sword you want to fall on.
Right.
That's good. Okay. So 3/4, 1/4. So this is the whole point of what NASA is trying to do in the next article. Somebody posted this and it just tickled my funny bone because, I was watching the moon landings on television when they were broadcast on ABC, NBC, and CBS because you couldn't avoid it. Literally, it was such a big deal that they were just published out everywhere. So NASA is going to use blockchain to try to prove that they really are going to land on the moon. Because they've been trying to convince people since the 1970s that they really did land on the moon the first time, which I think is just as humorous as can be. NASA even recognizes the facts. So if all goes according to plan, we have in this paragraph here, the same blockchain technology will verify once and for all and immutably that humans have landed on the moon when NASA launches its second crewed mission, Artemis 3, in 2025. So they are, and there's a funny statement they make down here. Through the blockchain, though the blockchain may not be able to disabuse conspiracy theorists of notions related to lunar landings of the 20th century, it could serve as indisputable register for the next humans who touch the moon's surface. So I think that's going to a lot of expense just to prove a point. So anyway,
did they happen to mention how they were putting it on the blockchain? Because if they just have some guy behind a computer press enter when they land on the moon, that's not verification, right?
Yeah, I know. I was kind of worried about that too. They're going to take these blocks up there, and the blocks they're going to supposedly when they get there, they're going to log into the block there, the computer block that's left there, and they're going to log in with their badge or something like that to show that they were there.
Interesting. I mean, blockchains do handle big data fairly well. And so if they just had GPS trackers, or it wouldn't be GPS trackers because it's not global anymore, but something like that, some sort of tracking, I guess that would kind of work.
That would kind of, but there'd be conspiracy theorists that would say, I'm sorry.
Yeah, smart contracts. That's absolutely have to be a certain distance away to allow the badges to work or whatever. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
If you can trust the programmer, which
misdirection, obviously.
If we don't trust the government so badly, we doubt that the moon landing happened. We can't trust the blockchain they build is any better. But
I have my own conspiracy theorists in the house. Can you tell? All right.
I did say I think the moon landing's fake.
Okay. All right. So, do we have any other surveys, or those that we put together?
We do have one for our final topic for the day.
Are we going to do that beforehand or after, or in the middle?
No, go ahead and start the subject, and we'll go from there.
Someone else posted this one as well. GameFi, or Game Finance, employs blockchain to allow players to play in the game and get artifacts in the game that have value that they can then sell and exchange for coins that can be extracted and used in the real world. That's the basics of the idea here. And so they're basically play to earn blockchain games, which means that they try to, earn cryptocurrencies. I have played one of them. I wasn't all that impressed with it. What was that game called?
Oh gosh.
The world building game with the funny...
I don't recall. It is on this channel. You have a video or two.
Yeah, I do have a video about it. Yeah. Anyway, you bought properties and you sold the properties and you went all the... They tried to gamify a lot of the real estate type of transactions and frankly, the biggest challenge that they presented to you is that you would buy into the game with real money so that you could buy some properties. And then you would buy the properties and then you would try to sell the properties, except the buying and selling of properties went so slow that you couldn't really generate an income at all. And then come to find out that you bought the game's tokens in order to buy the properties, and then when you sold the properties, they provided no way to exchange the tokens back into real money.
They hide that fact really, really deep.
And they hide that fact until you...
Upland, yes.
Upland.
Yep.
Upland. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So what we've got here is a situation where they're trying to make games such that when you own things, like, I don't know how many of you played World of Warcraft. I think World of Warcraft is really cool and you can develop a lot of in-game wealth. And realistically, I think that the game would be spoiled if it was a situation where you developed in-game wealth and then when you quit playing, you were only there with the idea of extracting the money. I don't know. I enjoyed playing World of Warcraft, and I enjoyed playing the other one related to World of Warcraft. The kind of the watered down version of World of Warcraft.
Are you talking about Guild Wars 2?
Guild Wars.
Yeah.
I played Guild Wars 2. Especially after they said that my account was hacked. And then they took away my account because I was supposedly doing some nefarious things and I hadn't played for 6 months.
Yeah.
So they took away my level 80 character and I just wasn't willing to go do all that work anymore. So that was a bad episode in my gaming history. Anyway, how is blockchain changing the gaming history? Industry? They say the new model uses a decentralized network in order to make the game more secure and protected against intruders that want to come in and corrupt the game. While that may be true, there's a lot of slowness that's being entered into the game. Because remember my biggest gripe during our repetitive figure out what the private versus public blockchains are, the whole idea that public blockchains are slow, they're lumbering. They really, they try to process transactions quickly, but the transactions are getting overly expensive to process on their blockchains. Ethereum is slowly getting better by going to proof of stake instead of proof of work. But even at that, they are slow because they're public and they got to keep bad people out. So the challenges are numerous. Whenever I've played any of the other games, the graphics have been poor. The gameplay has been infantile. Nothing even close to the sophistication of a World of Warcraft type of game, which I really did enjoy. So how is it changing the industry? I think it's really trying to run parallel to the industry and really trying to catch up to the industry. I don't think it's changing the industry yet, but this author thinks they are. The benefits they could offer, secure identities, secure transparent transactions, player control of their own assets. I think all those are potential benefits if they get to where they can make an appealing enough game to attract a good solid body of people to play them. So what are the downsides? Technical barriers. And here's where I've been hitting basically this whole discussion here is that, there's a lot of people out there that just love to create games, and if you throw at them the idea that their game is going to get tied to blockchain technology, now they got to learn a whole new technology, and there really aren't the development packages out there to just bolt on a blockchain and call it good. So at this point in time, the technical barrier is challenging. It also mentions here that game players also have a technical challenge because they've got to create a crypto wallet in order to do it. So you got to attach this crypto wallet in order to do it, and then you've got to worry about converting the coins to from fiat to something else, and then getting it from something else back out into fiat, and that can tend to be a whole lot more sophisticated than a lot of the players out there. Whether it's more sophisticated than they can handle or more sophisticated than they want to deal with, either way, I think it's a challenge. So what does the future hold? I think it could be bright, but they've got to solve all of these problems. We've got that scalability problem because of the public blockchain aspect of it. Regulatory uncertainty, once you start having money being transacted in there, you've got all of these securities laws that are wanting to call Bitcoin and everything else a security, and the exchange that sells it to you is subject to securities laws, and on and on. And that's a bunch of nonsense as far as I'm concerned. They ought to just manage the high level stuff and leave the little guys alone. A little game that has a token in it is not something that they should have to worry about regulating. So what does the future hold? I think it's bright if regulation doesn't kill it, and if they can overcome the scalability issues and get some decent games with good storylines and good graphics. But I think that's a lot to overcome in short order. So, Robert, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I had a couple things to share. Actually, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take over your screen here.
Ooh.
See if it works. This website's called OpenSea. OpenSea is the largest NFT marketplace online. Back in the day, before it became known for Bored Apes, it was actually primarily for drops in different games. It was much more popular in Japan and Korea. And to be honest, you can hardly even find it here. Now, nearly everything on the gaming side is the kind of stuff we were describing, really low quality, low effort, sort of almost mobile game tier stuff. But even then, some of these still have some pretty decent valuation at a third of 0.3 ETH here, which I think they'll give us an actual dollar amount. Well, no, they don't have it translated directly here. But yeah, some decent value on some of these. But I think Brandon in the chat kind of hit things that Counter-Strike has been selling skins on the Steam marketplace for quite a while, and that's a fairly robust marketplace. The reason why I don't think that these kind of games will really take off, even if they have really good graphics, is because when they tie them into core game loops, you completely upset the motivation for playing the game. I think the best example is Diablo 3, and I can't believe the game is as old as it is now, but Diablo 3, when it was first released, had a marketplace. And this is an article from Wired talking about it. When the game was first released, they built an auction house where you could use real-life money to purchase really cool weapons and gear and stuff in-game from other players who had played the game. The item had dropped, and then they listed it. Okay? So this is an actual, real marketplace. But what ends up happening is, well, unfortunately, this is a global game, which means that there's people in Singapore or India or somewhere else where earning a couple $5 US is really good payday. So they can work all day long, get one good weapon drop and sell it to you, and they're eating good. And what happens to people in the West who, well, I want to go play the game and I can play for like an hour or two and have fun playing the game normally, or I can pay $5 and now I have the best drop in the game, or the best drop I can currently use. And I think here near the bottom of the article, so this is from the game director, Jay Wilson. What he said is the auction house can short-circuit the natural pace of item drops, making the game feel less rewarding for some players. It's a problem we recognize, and they weren't sure how to fix it when this was made, but their solution was to gut it, to remove it completely from the game. And the game fairly recovered fairly well and went on to have pretty good showing past this. But the right way to do it, maybe like what Steam and Counter-Strike does, selling just skins where it has no real effect in the game. But my personal view is, if you want to put NFTs from a game on a marketplace, if it affects the game balance, it's not a game anymore.
Mm-hmm. It becomes ruled by a profit motive.
Yeah. And there's always somebody with more money than you.
Oh, no kidding. Whenever there's a situation where a game can be affected by the amount of money that you have to buy the thing to win the tournament or whatever, there's always those people who just win the tournament all the time, and you have no control over that. So,
yep,
absolutely. So, it is 6:39, and I've covered the topics that I want to cover. Does anybody have any questions about finals week for the bachelor students, or about the I do have one more thing. One more thing, and I'm just gonna pull it up here, and I want you to remember that public blockchains and private blockchains are like comparing apples and oranges. Okay, they're not the same. They don't function the same. They don't focus on the same thing. They don't have the same regulatory market. They don't focus on the same data. They're totally different animals. The only commonality between the two is the kind of data structure they have to record and keep the data underlying. So please, when you look at an article, do the sniff test. If the guy or person, the analyst, the person reporting seems to start mixing his metaphors and starts talking about, private blockchains being never being extensible because they, or what's the other word for extensible? Scalable. Because they're too slow, because this, that, because of proof of work, that they're mixing their metaphors and they don't really understand the true world of the private blockchain for business and the public blockchain that runs cryptocurrencies. So one key is that if they mention cryptocurrency anywhere in the article, dump the article and move on if you're looking for good information on business blockchain technology. Did you take over my screen?
Yep. There you go.
Okay. Did you show my graphic?
Yes, I did. Yeah, it was up there. I just now changed it for you.
That graphic has gone round and round and round with different labels on it.
Yes, I just put that together to emphasize your point. Brandon is absolutely correct. NFT skins you could display and stuff. I'm all for that. I think that's great. But yeah, no effect on gameplay.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, anybody have any questions? Post it in the chat. Go ahead and call for roll for the end, and we'll give it a couple 3 minutes for people to do that, and then we'll put up the close screen list. You got another comment there?
We missed our final poll.
Oh, that final poll is.
And you guys can answer this as you are signing off if you'd like. Do you like the idea of blockchain monetized games?
There it is.
There it is.
And of course, he's got to put in the slam on boomers. Because I am.
You are old, yes.
I am. What? There's only a little gray in the mustache. Only because you're saying I'm old only because I can say that I sat in front of a TV and watched the moon landing live.
Yes, that makes you old.
When I was in high school, Actually, I wasn't quite in high school yet. 68 to 72 were the moon landings. Never old, just seasoned. I like that. Allison, are you trying to... Anyway. Thank you, Allison.
Don't say it out loud. Okay. Anything else before we
No. I've said my piece for the day.